Indian cricket is standing at a crossroads. For years, we were called the home track bullies. Then we reinvented ourselves and became ambassadors of Test cricket, a team that carried the longest format on its shoulders, a team that turned India into the most feared fortress in world cricket. Today, that fortress has cracks. The recent results show something India never quite imagined. They are crumbling at home. After New Zealand, South Africa have now whitewashed India, a first series win for the Proteas in India since 2000. A record that stood resolute up until this point. And this transition phase, it's not moving the way we perceived it would. The South Africa Test series was a reminder that the gap between what India were and what India are becoming is widening fast. Criticism, memes, trolling, this Indian setup is under siege. Now, after losing the first test inside 3 days, there still was optimism in that dressing room, optimism all around. Fans believed different pitch, different conditions, this team will bounce back. Guwahati offered pace, bounce, carry, a refreshing change and a little something for everyone over the course of the 5 days that it played out. And ironically, the visitors made the better use of it. South Africa piled on 490 in that first innings, then put on a bowling clinic, bundling India out for 201. Marco Jansen, the player of the match, was tall, relentless and vicious with the short ball. Asked India questions they simply had no answers to. From that moment, India shifted from trying to win that test somehow to level to trying to survive. Even so, survival didn't come. The pacey wicket eased out for batting and South Africa showed how to make the most of it. Again, they posted a mammoth 549-run target and with it exposed India's biggest demon, spin at home. Simon Harmer ripped through that top order. First Yashasvi Jaiswal and then KL Rahul walked back on a dismissal that even Anil Kumble couldn't stop himself from trolling about. What followed? India getting all out for 140, and that moment sums up the current state. There's confusion, there's lack of clarity, and a team that's clearly searching for itself as one match after the other just keeps rolling on. A team that seems to be going through the motions. Now, once upon a time, many other countries feared touring India. Winning even a single test here was a sense of achievement because you had to really double down and work hard to cross the line. India's monstrous team would stop you in your tracks with the ball and the bat. Series wins here was legendary, and the numbers prove it. India lost just 4 tests at home across 7 years. They've lost 5 now in the last 12 months. This isn't a blip, it's now becoming a bit of a pattern. It was believed that the New Zealand whitewash was just a one-off, something that you could wipe the slate clean from. But South Africa doing it now shows the cracks are widening and the opposition isn't holding back.
We wanted India to spend as much time on their feet out in the field. We wanted them to really grovel, to steal a phrase, bat them completely out the game and then say to them, well, come and survive on the last day and an hour this evening.
One word from that quote, grovel, exploded across social media platforms because this word, of course, carries weight. Tony Greig, 1976, the West Indies, it carries racial undertones. Of course, that could just be an oversight coming from someone like Shukri Conrad, who is known to have transformed a divided and a troubled South African cricket unit. And dwelling on this probably unintentional insult would only derail us here from the more important matter at hand. Truth is, South Africa came with a plan, a detailed, disciplined, ruthless plan to rout India, and the hosts simply didn't turn up. Experts and many cricket voices who've observed Indian cricket over the years have been rather blunt and brutal. India are not getting their combinations right. They aren't adapting to conditions. They aren't reading pitches and tracks well enough. And the transition from that Rohit Kohli era to the next generation feels rather chaotic and disjointed. Younger players are talented, there's no doubt there. But Test cricket demands much more. It demands patience, game awareness, and solid temperament. Qualities that must be built, not assumed. And yes, it takes time.
I hate using this word, transition, but this is exactly what transition is. When your batting lineup has played fewer than 15-20 Test matches, they need time. Hopefully, they keep learning.
Well, something we've been saying all along, but is this the kind of communication or the messaging that's being sent across in that dressing room? Jaiswal showed fight in that first innings, but fell to his temptations in the second. KL Rahul too struggled through the series. Sure, Shubman Gill's omission was a massive hit. His absence did affect that Indian lineup, but is India going to be too reliant on just one player to pull them through? Rishabh Pant, who was expected to step up here, threw away his wicket in that first innings and in the second, succumbed to spin. As a captain, he had the responsibility to carry the team forward and not carry his template alone. Let's be clear, there's no harm in rebuilding, but there is harm in not accepting that rebuilding is the need of the hour. So what's the path forward here? India needs clarity, whether it's in selection, in role definition, in leadership. They need hunger, they need the same hunger that once made this very country, this cricketing nation, unstoppable at home. And they need to embrace the fact that this is a new chapter, whether you like it or not, and one that requires time, patience, and painful lessons learned. South Africa didn't just beat India, they exposed the current Indian setup and the cricket here, exposed the cracks, the decision-making gaps, the lack of direction, and reminded the world that dominance is not a permanent fixture. You must earn it with every series, with every match and every single session. Because if the last decade taught us anything, it's that India can be giants. The question now is, do they still remember how?
I wore the crown of a revolutionary. I promised to lift my nation. I claimed to fight imperialism. I became the very thing I warned against. I funded militias across continents. I feared my own shadow. Some called me the King of Kings. History calls me something else. The dictator. Who am I?